All right, boys. We are in Fallen Pass for an iron and gold route. Now, there's some specifics for this. But the first thing you're going to do is as you come up from the ramp at the entrance, go through the stone archway and into the Pymos camp, you're going to start on the far side of it. Easy way to tell that you're in the right spot is look across and make sure you can see the big old black or green castle, right? As long as you have that, you're Gucci. Now, this route has a caveat. You have to have sea invisibility. You cannot do this route safely without it. If you don't have sea invisibility, it's going to be a problem for you. So, I'm going to take invisibility. We're going to try some shenanigans so that you might not need it, but sea invisibility is essential. Make that clear. Okay? So, start of the route. You're on the right side. You see the castle? You're going to duck in here to the right into the Plagueborn Drake den, I guess you could call it, right? Over on the right, you're going to have a little node, little beautiful iron node for you, yeah? So we're going to hit that. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys to go through this big loop in here. That's not what this is about. Oh, get out of here. We're not going back there. We're not going back there. We don't care. Not a problem. There's nodes. You could get them. It's not worth it. These places, this whole thing is supposed to be capable of being done on a lower level character than the zone would be normally. So we're going to run in here to this tunnel. Sometimes there's a node back on that rock. Sometimes there's a node on these rocks. So we're going to check them. No node. No node. And it'll be tucked right in there. So make sure you run all the way through. Now, in here, you can get a couple nodes. You can get nodes on this. You get a little node on that. You can get a node in that little cranny over there. Sometimes you get a node along this little wall, right? So we're just going to go check. We're going to make sure there's no node. No node, so we're going to run out. You could go ahead and skip this part of it, but you're missing out on like a couple nodes if you do that. So I suggest go ahead, just run through the tunnel and run back. I know it's a lot of running, but it's worth it. See, me taking my sweet time has caused one of the nodes to repop anyway. So, boom. You're going to hit that rich iron node. You're going to love that rich iron node. You're going to consider that rich iron node a friend. All right. You're going to keep going. You're going to go right back out to the Pymos village, right? Now, this upcoming part, there's something to know. You're going to turn right once you get out here, right? Don't go into the village. You're going to turn right up the path. But this path here can be patrolled by a plague drake, so you have to be careful. So on the right here, there's oftentimes a little node cheeky tucked in here. You want to make sure you go ahead and check right so you can see if it's there. You don't want to go running past nodes and then miss out on the maximum spawns. So sometimes there's a little extra node tucked, and there's none, right? So the plague drake will patrol out of this little area, okay? So he'll come flying through here, and he'll circle this whole route. If you see him and you're worried about it, you can just wait for him to patrol, or you can get his attention and drag him to the Pymos guards, and they will beat the crap out of him. So if you were worried about getting one shot, let's say you're on a level 1 or something like that, maybe don't do that. But if you're on like a level 10 or plus, you can probably bunny hop away from him enough and get him to the Pymos guards, and he will easily get dispatched, right? So there's a node here. There's usually a node here, sometimes a little bit in here. We're going to keep going, though. Now, as we enter up this ramp here, you're going to need to be really careful. There are Screevar on the right. Don't hug right. Hug left. You'll be all right. But do not get close to the Screevar guards. They will 100% tear you up. Unless you're high level. But, you know, that goes without saying. Now, down here, there can be a little cheeky node. There isn't. Don't go all the way down. It's not necessary. So instead, as you come up, you're going to end up tucking right into this little crack. I'm going to keep going through here. As you can see, we got a little node. We're going to hit that. All right. You're going to go around the backside of this rock. Sometimes there's a node up in here. There isn't, so we'll ignore it. This is where sea invis becomes essential. Now, there are Screevar ambushers up here. Supposed to be Screevar. There he is. See? He tucks behind that rock. He's a sneaky little shit. Now, I'm going to use invis for this, okay? But he does patrol away from that rock. So what you can do is if he's over here, you can jump over here, loop around, and then jump up. We're not going to do that right now because I don't want to touch him. Also, the new invisibility looks beautiful. Oh my god, that is wonderful looking. Good job, devs. But you see he patrols over here. The thing you got to be careful of is this guy also patrols over here. And now I feel uncomfortable, and I'm going to go ahead and re-up my invis because I don't trust it. But if they do aggro you, like, you know, whatever it is, if you do end up grabbing aggro, just jump down and loop all the way back to the Paimos. You should be fine. You should be all right. Now, you're going to run up here, past those two. There's a node that spawns here quite often. It's not up. And there's also a node that spawns up here, but ignore this node. This little bastard never leaves aggro range for that, so you're going to ignore it. So you're going to go past this rock. We're going to run over here, jump on this little cliffside. I know it looks sketchy, but you'll be all right. You're going to jump, walk up around here, and do another little jump. Now, a Screevar ambusher patrols over here as well. This is why C-Invis is essential, okay? So he goes up there, he fights with him. That's fine. We're going to ignore that. We're going to come down here. You can see the node in there. Normally, you just want to run past this tunnel at first, but I can't pass up a gold node. I'm a greedy bugger, right? So you're going to come up here and go ahead and stag that. But what you really want to do is run past this tunnel, and you're going to come down here where there's a little cave, okay? Little hidden cave back here. It has a node on the right, and sometimes it has a rich node over there. It's a really, really good spot. So you always want to just come down and give it a little peek. We're going to come back out. And we're going to go into the tunnel that you avoided earlier. You're going to go up in this tunnel, okay? Sometimes there's going to be a node little there. This rock right here, I want to make it very clear. There's a node here, but you should never run past this rock. Don't go down here. Those Screevar will whoop your ass. They will throw hella hands on your face. Don't do it. Instead, come up to the ramp to the right, where the Merhua are. The Merhua are the homies, dog. We love the Merhua. Don't fight the Merhua. Don't ruin your rep. Them boys, okay? Little lore drop for you. The Merhua are escaped slaves. That's why they're escapees. The Screevar are slavers. You can actually see some of their slave camps over there. You see those cages and these huts are Screevar slave camp. And so the Merhua are our boys, all right? We are chill with the Merhua, so don't even trip. You know, these guys are all great. There's nobody in here that should have negative faction unless you have killed them for some reason. Now, there's the node out there on the tip there. Then you're going to come in this little cave. Sometimes there's a node here. Isn't one today, but, you know. You're going to come in here, a little bit of ambience, right? There's a boss in here named Picard, but he is chill. We like him. Now, there's usually a rich node here. I've seen it quite often, but the last few times I've been in here, it hasn't been spawned. So we're going to keep going. And you're just going to go right back down the way you came. You don't need to go around the back of this mountain. You can just come down through here. You're going to go straight across to this little cave here at the top of the ramp. And in here, there is a node you can get right here. Hey, it's up. Yeah, that's that rich iron, boys. So you're going to grab that. I know it's kind of dark. Let me see if I can... There you go. It gives you a little bit of extra light. All right, you're going to go ahead and continue out. And on this little mesa plateau peninsula thing, whatever you want to call it, man, there's a couple nodes you can get. Now, there's this one on the side of the rock, but there's also one that spawns, like, up just in the open up there. So we'll go and I'll show you where that's at, although I don't think it's up right now. So, as you can see, not up. So we're just going to dip. Now, don't go back up the ramp yet. You're going to go into this little cave here. If you want, you can just re-loop. But I suggest going and checking in this cave because there is oftentimes a node up on this rock. Sometimes in the back here. See? Yep. Gotta grab it. You keep going. Now you're going to go back out here. So hold on. Just to make it clear, this is the cave tunnel you came in. So you can see it's the cave tunnel you came in. You're going to go into the cave tunnel, check the right wall, but then you're going to turn left. You're going to come in here, okay? So you're going to come down through here. I don't believe there's any nodes on the way up here. But there is a convenient amount of tin nodes. Or sorry, not tin nodes. Limestone nodes. If you need limestone for flux, there is a ton of limestone up on this cliff. And it's a very, very safe limestone farm. Now, you come in here. You check. See, there's limestone in here. It's not no iron. There's also Elder Lucan, another named. They're pretty mean. They're red to a 25, so you know they're pretty nasty. And there's nothing up here. So if you want, you can really just cut this plateau out. But if you're in the game of mining limestone, it's worth coming up here. It's worth hitting the limestone nodes. So I wanted to make sure to show it. Now, what you're going to do, pretty simple. We're going to go back to where we originally got up on this platform, where we did those sketchy cliff jumps, okay? You're going to come back out through here. You're going to go up this ramp. The ramp you came down. And you're just going to go right back through the rat tunnel. Mouse tunnel, I guess you could call it. Merhua seem more like mice. Okay. You're going to go back down the ramp. So you come out of this tunnel, you turn right. Here's your little ramp. All right. You go back down it. You can see that node is up that I was talking about on that little rock. The rock you're not supposed to walk past. Do not walk past the rock. Let's make that clear. Do not go down there. Don't do it. If you die, you cannot blame me in the comments. This is a big one. Holy shit. That's what's up. All right. We're going to continue on. Now, you got to be careful as you're coming through here, because that Skrivar ambusher could be here, okay? Now, you don't need to. You can go check that cave if you want. You don't need to go check the cave. You can always just wait until your next route up. So you're going to come back over here. Also, there's limestone up here. Honorable mention. But you're going to come back over here, okay, where this little land bridge is. You're not going to go up the land bridge. You're going to look back over left where you had jumped along these walls. You're going to get back on the walls, okay? You're going to come down to the tip of this little cliff, and you'll see a big rock. You jump down to the big rock, and you won't die. That's the important part. When you jump down to the big rock, you've run your face into the rock, right? You're going to turn right. You're going to go down the ramp towards the Pymos camp. Don't go up the ramp. Go down the ramp towards the Pymos camp. Once you're in the Pymos camp, you are back to the beginning of the route. As you can see, big green glowy castle. This is the beginning of the route. You just loop back through it. You tuck in here. You check that right side. You go over there. You hit the little tunnel. And you go back on your way. And that's the whole route, boys. That's the whole thing. That Skrivar ambusher must have trained from somebody. He is not normally down here. That's not normally a guy I see. But it is part of why you need sea invisibility. You have to have sea invisibility for this route, or you will get messed up. So, that's it, boys. I hope you all have some good mining, and that you guys ruin this route for me so that I can never get gold again.